The biggest myth in wholesaling is that you need to do a bunch of volume, you need to cold call a bunch of people in order to be able to close deals, right? I once believed that. Like I told you, I made 36,000 dials before I got one deal closed. Now, if I make 4 dials, I close one deal.
Nice. Okay. So it's not about the volume. It's about, what is it about then?
Great question. It is about talking to people who want your help and actually understanding how to influence, sell, and lead people to a specific lead people to a specific outcome that you desire them to come to.
All right. Hey guys, welcome to the Julian Castle Show. Today's guest went from 120 pounds overweight, $212 in the bank, and being the joke of school, to $100,000 months, ripped abs, and real estate freedom, right? So if you're tired of waiting for your life to change, this episode is the blueprint. JT Sudderth, how you doing, man?
Man, I'm absolutely excellent.
Amazing. So look, we have quite a few viewers here, and a lot of them, everybody has their before and after story. But can you paint the picture for us? Like, how was it like being, fat, bald, broke, JT on the day-to-day basis back then? Yeah.
Dude, so like growing up, I literally was always fat. So I didn't really know what it was like to not be fat. So it wasn't like I'd ever experienced like good and then had like a rock bottom, right? I always just kind of was in a rock bottom. And the one thing about being like really big is that I don't think a lot of people understand that you mentally don't believe in yourself like you do when you've achieved something with physically, like losing that much weight. Right. So I remember when I first, started the weight loss journey, it was because my baseball coach was like, JT, you're not going to play baseball here if you don't lose the weight. And I'm like, yeah, right. I'm going to still play. Anyway, long story short, I ended up getting depressed and I put on 30 more pounds. So I got up to 300 pounds.
Wow.
Right. And so in the moment, I'm like, when I saw the scale say 300 pounds, I knew I had to make a change. You know how a lot of people, they're like, oh, I want to be the best. I want to be the greatest, but they don't take action,
Yeah.
That was me for a long time. And,
okay.
Dude, I ended up meeting this guy. His name was Basamba. He was a 6'6" or 6'7" African dude, 240 pounds, shredded 6-pack. And, he made me run 5Ks every single day with like 45-pound weighted vest and 20-pound dumbbells. Right. So my entire, I did that every single day and I had never run a mile before. Right. So
yeah,
I was doing this. I was eating nothing but egg whites, cabbage, and beef. That was my entire meal for like 2 years. And
wow,
he turned me into an absolute animal. It made my whole entire mindset change. So I ended up starting my first business right after that. It was a personal training business. I got down to like 190 pounds at the time. I started a personal training business, ended up making like 10K a month. Didn't love it because my client results were actually pretty good, but I didn't know like how to channel in my avatar, my ICP. And I was just trying to like sign anybody who would give me money. And a lot of people didn't take action. Right. So I ended up starting that. Don't like it. Didn't know like you could sell businesses. Didn't understand that at all. So I started another business. It was a clothing brand and I made like $50. Right. I started day trading. This is in my senior year of high school, right? I started day trading and, dude, I was making like 10K a month in high school. And, you give an 18-year-old kid some money and he's like, and you expect how it goes, right? I was acting like an idiot. I was arrogant. No one could tell me anything, all of that. Anyway, I end up losing everything, which takes me to that $212 in my bank account, right? My girlfriend at the time, she's like, JT, you're never going to be shit in life if you don't get this together and get a job. So I'm like, fine, I'll go get a job. Started working as a personal trainer at this gym, literally despised it. And then I got I started at Sunglass Hut. Then I got a personal training job at the gym. Despised both of them. She broke up with me too. And I'm like, you know what? I've got to make this work.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go to college. My mom told me she would buy me a truck if I went to college. She didn't buy me a truck, by the way. And I went to college, got a degree in finance, but my sophomore year of college, so this was like after I had worked at the Sunglass Hut and after I had worked at as a personal trainer, I was like, I'm gonna just try real estate. I kept seeing like real estate on TikTok and
Hmm.
YouTube and like all this stuff, and I'm like, I'm gonna give it a shot, right? I've got to make this work.
Yeah.
So I ended up 30, dude. Like my mentality from losing so much weight was like just brute force, do it as hard as you possibly can. So I ended up cold calling. I would cold call 300 people a day. I did that for 4 months straight. I'm talking 12 hours a day, literally 4 months, no breaks, no day off. I did that I made 36,000 dials. I did not get a single deal closed. I got
Wow.
2 contracts within that time. None of them closed because both of the sellers backed out because they didn't really trust me per se.
Uh-huh.
I guess. And then they both backed out and I felt like a failure. I ended up reading up 2 books, How to Win Friends and Influence People, and
Nice.
Never Split the Difference. And then within 2 weeks, I got to 30K a
Yeah.
month.
Wow, look at you. Okay, that's amazing. Okay, wow. That's such a huge, incredible turnaround. Um, so okay, wonderful. So basically you gave it a snapshot, like basically from, rock bottom to hero, right?
Yeah, yeah,
That was the basically thing, so that coach really, shaped you, the baseball coach, and
yeah, for sure.
amazing, amazing. So what lie were you telling yourself like back then that kept you stuck the longest, you think?
I told myself I wanted to be great. I told
Uh-huh.
myself that I wanted to be the best, that I was going to be something one day. But the truth be told is I didn't want that because if I truly wanted it at the time, I would have taken the action to get it. And so I
Gotcha.
had to make that mindset. I had to have the mindset shift of not only can I say I want it, I have to also show that I want it as well.
Gotcha. So okay, actions, right? Actions.
Yes. 100%.
Amazing. Uh, and so, what was the first promise you made to yourself that actually you kept? Like, you think?
Weight. Honestly, it was just like I want to get a six pack. That was my whole
Uh-huh.
thing. Like I want to get a six pack. And it took me a long time. I'm not gonna lie to you. But I was like, I have to get a six pack.
How did you get that guy to help you, like to work with you? Were you paying him, or was it like, you know?
So funny story. I had a like a really close friend in middle school. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And he used to weigh 400 pounds. And he went to this place called Fat Camp. It was a fat camp for kids. They had to go and they would spend a whole summer. And basically, they made you work out and they only fed you like a certain amount of money or food. So you would come back and have lost a bunch of weight, right? But a lot of those people put the weight right back on, you know?
Hmm.
So he had met this guy at a gym called Greatness Fitness. It was a like real African dude, man. He was like to the core. Yeah. And he was like, JT, this is where I go to keep my weight off. You should at least have a conversation with him. So I showed up to the gym with my mom. I couldn't even drive, bro. I couldn't even drive at the time. And my mom, dead serious. We walk in, the guy's like, how can I help you? And my mom's like, my son is fat as hell, and we gotta figure this out. And so he was like, do you really want this? I'm like, bro, I'm gonna do whatever it takes. And he's like, I'll see you in the morning. And there it happened.
Oh,
Like that. Yeah.
wow, that's amazing. Okay, amazing. So how was it? How was the difference? Like, what was day one of changing? Like, what did you eat? How did you train? Like, what did you do?
Yeah. So
To for money at that point.
I mean, dude, when it came to money, I mean, I had no like at this point. I guess I was 16, right? So I was in high school. I didn't even know really what I wanted to do to make money. It was literally just
Hmm.
like the mindset shift of, okay, I said I wanted to lose weight. What do I have to do in order to achieve that? Well, I had to put on a 45-pound weighted vest and carry 20-pound dumbbells and go run 5Ks every day. And it was just like a mentality thing. Like I always told myself, I can't do this. I can't do this. But when I saw that I could, it was like, holy shit, my mind has been holding me back this whole time, you know? And so
Mm,
when it came to money, so like that just changed my mindset, right? Because everyone wants to be rich, but no one wants to a lot of people don't want to put in the work to be rich. So I
yeah.
was like, well, I want to be rich, and I'm just going to apply the same concept of
Hmm.
brute force to real estate or to whatever I was going to do at the time, which was, the personal training company at first and the clothing brand. And the brute force works for a certain extent, but
Mm.
it doesn't really allow you to scale. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, wonderful. All right. So at what point were you like, hey, like I'm no longer the joke. Like I'm a badass. No. At what point were you
Dude, honestly, this was like my peak was when I was day trading in high school, and then it was
Uh-huh.
also at like a trough because I made the most money out of anyone in high school my senior year, right? And I had a six pack, right? So like I went from like fat and broke to making 10K a month as an 18-year-old, and I had a six pack. So like, like all the girls who like used to not want me at all, right? They're
Right.
all like head over heels in love with me. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Uh-huh.
feeling like a king. I'm feeling like a pimp. But
Wow.
literally that lasted
Yeah.
from like January to May, where I was making good money. I had a six pack, all that shit, right? We we like right before we graduate, I think like March or April, I literally lose all my money, right? And so I'm just like broke again. I'm broke again, which is the $212, of course. And then
Yeah.
um I go to Disney World. Dead serious. I go to Disney World and I eat like 10,000 calories a day and I put on 40 pounds.
Oh my God, bro. What?
Yeah, dude.
Oh God. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. All right. Interesting. All right. Well, so what are let's see, what were the two or three habits? I guess you went up and down, but what are the
Mhm.
two, three habits that moved everything else for you, like on a consistent basis?
Right. I would couple things. Consistency, right? Like a lot of people, they think that it's about sprinting, right? But a lot of people sprint and burn out. So the average person, and especially with like the people I talk to nowadays, is they work super hard for a week, don't see the results they want, and then they completely back off. They lose intensity, right?
Mhm.
Intensity is really important, but it's more important that you keep intensity over a long period of time because truly time in the game is way better than just trying to go super hard as soon as you get in because you don't know what you don't know yet. Right? So
Mhm.
my habits had to change from like my habits was just like consistently run. I guess I'm making like a fitness analogy here, but like consistently
Right.
run as long as possible. Don't try and overdo it. Don't spend all your capital. Don't deprive yourself because at the end of the day, you're going to quit if you have nothing left, right? You can't if
Mhm.
you have literally nothing left, you're burnt out. You can't make the move forward like you need to be. So continuously scale with strategy and with like and pace yourself. I would say that. And so I had to pace myself and I had to really like lock in for the long term and think long distance instead of like just a short sprint.
Gotcha. Okay, gotcha. So time in the game, just being consistent.
Yes.
Um, Amazing, amazing. All right. So great. Well, let's explain the business, model
Mhm.
like I'm 15, like how do you actually make $100,000 a month?
Great question. Right. So what we do is we have channeled our lead sources, right? So we are helping people alleviate the stress that they're going through by giving them an offer on their house.
Hmm.
A lot of people in this business model, they think that they are a cash offer company. But truth be
Hmm.
told, this is a problem solving company. We are here to help people who need our help, not give cash offer lowballs to people who don't want to hear a lowball, right? So
Hmm.
what we do is we find people who need help out of a distressed situation. That distressed situation could be a distressed home, like a lot of people say. It could be a distressed situation like foreclosure, like a divorce, like um, a sickness, like financial troubles, credit card debt, anything. And then we figure out their current problem and then how we can solve it by giving them a walk away price in their pocket in order to be able for them to achieve dream outcome. So very simply stated, we find somebody in a distressed situation, we have a genuine conversation with them, figure out how we can best help them go from their pain and where they're at right now to a dream outcome. We
Hmm.
sign a contract on a piece of real estate and then we help them uh, or then we help them basically sell that contract to a end buyer and we take a fee for the service called an assignment fee, maybe an ovation fee or something of that nature. Yes. So that's our
Okay.
basic business model.
Okay. Amazing. Amazing. So incredible. So let's say you had to start again. Let's say you had
Mhm.
$212.
Yep.
again, right? What would step 1 through 10 be, or like summary? What would you do?
Great question. What I would genuinely do, if do I well, my question here, I guess, to you would be, do I have the same skill set or am I starting from zero? Like no skills.
Um, yeah, you have the skill set.
I have the skill set.
Yeah.
I would start an LLC. I would get 0% interest credit on like a blue Amex cash preferred card, like a blue Amex business cash card. Probably get approved for like $3,000. Spend $3,000 on PPL with an inbound lead company, like pay per lead with an inbound lead company. That would probably buy me about 20 leads realistically. I get
Mhm.
20 leads. I close two of them, minimum probably three. My average deal size is $29,788.60. And I go from nothing to not $60,000 to $90,000 if all three deals go through, or if one falls out. I go from zero to $60,000 to $90,000 within the next 90 days.
Amazing. Okay, wonderful. All right. So that's great. I like that. What would you do if you what would you advise someone? Let's say that you have the skill set, but they
Mhm.
don't have the skill set, but they just follow your plan, you know?
Yeah, great question. So the plan I give to people, and the reason I give this to them is because action conquers anxiety 99% of the time. So a lot of people get caught up in the actual wholesaling process. They think they want to learn how to wholesale, but what they really want to learn is how to make money from wholesaling. Okay? There's a difference. I can teach you how to wholesale. I can show you the process from start to finish, or I can give you the actionable steps you need to take every day in order to be able to achieve a certain amount of income, right? The numbers are broken down simply. So what I would do is I would go to Zillow, Craigslist, and Facebook Marketplace. I would call for sale by owners. I would try to have 20 new for sale by owner leads a day. I would try to connect with at least 5 of them. So a 25% pickup rate on for sale by owners, very easily doable. I would have conversations with 5 of them, offer 3 of them, and get 1 out of every 12 under contract. 1 out of every 12 offers under contract, which should put me at about a deal a week.
Okay, wonderful. That's the great plan in place. Okay. So what's the simplest first deal? I mean, I guess we went over that, but what is the biggest myth in wholesaling that you think?
The biggest myth in wholesaling is that you need to do a bunch of volume. You need to cold call a bunch of people in order to be able to close deals, right?
Mhm.
I once believed that. Like I told you, I made 36,000 dials before I got one deal closed. Now, if I make 4 dials, I close one deal.
Nice. Okay. So it's not about the volume. It's about what is it about then?
Great question. It is about talking to people who want your help and actually understanding how to influence, sell, and lead people to a specific lead people to a specific outcome that you desire them to come to.
Gotcha. Nice. Okay, great. So, all right, we're gonna get into it more, but what does a boring, perfect week look like for you now? Like, what are your hours, your activities, your non-negotiables?
Right. So we're in a scaling phase right now. So like we're trying to get to $250,000 a month. So we're really pushing hard on that. So it's my days is a little bit different, but honestly, my current day in wholesale is I wake up, I go to the gym at 6:30. I get home at about 9. I ate breakfast until 10, which is my first morning huddle meeting. We do a 30-minute morning meeting. Then my team goes and has their actionable steps for the day. I do any fun work that I want to do, like trying to scale at this current point. Like if I wanted to just stay at 180 to 120K a month, I would just let it run. But the fact we're trying to scale from, 10:30 to 12, I'm trying to figure out exactly what I need to do in order to push revenue forward, and I'm taking actionable steps towards that. 12 o'clock, I run a call with all of my JV partners around the country. So I train them. I train JV students around the country how to actually close deals and get contracts. So I do that for an hour. So we talk about sales and marketing for an hour every single day at 12 noon Eastern. I do that from 12 to 1 to honestly, after that, I'm done working if I really want to be. But I just try and find opportunities to sell to make more money so we can have cash to be able to scale to 250K a month by June.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Alrighty. So you're right now taking more of a CEO role in your company and
Yes.
doing chief revenue generating activities. Now, um, what does your team look like? What do you have?
So we have a COO. So we have technically this company split into two branches, which is the coaching, like the JV and the info model, and then the other half is the actual wholesale operation. So we have a COO of the wholesale operation, and she handles like managing, making sure our systems are in place, making sure we're like properly scaling and hitting our daily goals, and anything we need to get tweaked out to align our company to get to a certain outcome. She does that. We also have the COO for our like our JV students in our operation here, so we can make sure all the students are doing exactly what it takes to achieve the results they want. So instead of just like saying, "Hey, here's how you wholesale," we're holding them accountable. We have like KPI sheets they have to fill out, and making sure they're getting new leads in, and making sure they're making offers. And so she handles the organization, or he handles the organization of that, and the marketing of that as well. And our COO on this side handles just the operations in terms of the wholesale. Now on the wholesale side, we have acquisition manager, and then we have a dispositions manager, and then a dispositions assistant. So our dispositions assistant is just to make sure all the deals are ready to be marketed. And then our disposition manager is marketing all the deals, making sure we have realtors aligned for our novations and getting deals to the closing table. And then our acquisitions manager, so for example, if one of our JV partners has a really good lead, but they weren't able to close it, they send that lead over to our company. My acquisitions manager goes through a survey call script. We lock up that deal for them. And then that lead is owned by the JV partner as well. On the other side, we have for our coaching business, we have onboarding specialists. So we have 4 people who qualify people to see if they'd be a good fit to work with us, right? Making sure they're action takers, making sure that they aren't just making excuses for themselves, making sure if they actually do work with us and we invest our time and energy into them, that they will be taking action and that they will get a return on their investment. If they qualify for that, they'll speak to one of my onboarding specialists, which my onboarding specialist will take them through all of the daily requirements, what exactly they need to do to be successful. And if the person is committed to being successful, we'll onboard them into that program. And then on that side as well, we have a JV, like a JV team liaison. So they're in a group chat. It's like a personal deal strategist. They're in a group chat with me, the deal strategist liaison, and then the JV partner. And then anytime a deal or a lead comes through, we help them analyze that deal, make sure they're getting it for the right price, and then getting that property locked up so they can send it over to our disposition team.
Okay, great. Amazing. For the JV coaching program, do you charge for that or is it just application, filter?
Oh, no, we charge for it. So, for example, we actually used to do it for free, but the issue was we were overloading our team and people weren't taking action, right? So they're just like throwing random people in the list. They had nothing holding them accountable, right? I believe truly that if you want to do something, you'll become resourceful and you'll find a way to make it work, even if you don't have the money, right? So, when I first started, like I said, I had $212 in my bank. I had to make it work somehow. And I found a way to get started, even when I didn't really have the money. It was just honestly, and at the time it was credit cards or whatever, but finding a way to get resourceful. So if they're like, "Oh, I really want to do this. I really want to be successful." Okay, what are you willing to sacrifice in order to do that? And if they're like, "Well, I'm not willing to sacrifice anything," then truth be told is they're not willing to be successful, and they're not going to invest into themselves. They're not going to invest the time and energy into building something great with someone like us.
Gotcha. Okay, great. So how much do you charge for that?
4,000 for now. That will probably go up because we're getting a lot of people who are joining and like getting crazy results. And I honestly can't take that many more people. So unless I start hiring aggressively, we're just going to like increase the price realistically.
Gotcha. Okay, makes sense. Okay, so let's talk about what are the top 3 skills a new investor should master in year 1.
Great. Sales. Honestly, you could kill every other skill, which I'll get into 2 other skills here in a moment, but you could kill every other skill. And if you understand how to sell to people, how to influence them, you can do anything else you want, right? Another thing too, I guess this also goes into it, is relationship building. Do you understand how to provide value to other people, and how do you understand how to talk to other people? And I think that at the end of the day, that comes down to listening, right? Which again goes into the psychology of sales. So we have sales, that's the number one skill. And then we have, relationship building, which feeds into that, the sales ability as well. And then the
Mhm.
final skill I would say is honestly just, I don't even know if I would call this a skill, but more of a personality trait of
Mhm.
extreme ownership. Like taking ownership for everything you do, the good and the bad, and understanding everything that happens to you is a product of your current inputs. So if like say for example you're not making the money you want to make, okay, that's because you're not doing something right, or maybe you're not
Mhm.
working hard enough. You have to identify what that is. And so extreme ownership, I would say, would be the last one, but that might be more of like a personality trait than a skill.
Gotcha. Okay. Wow. Okay, those are some great ones. So, all right. So you already kind of described your life a little bit now. So what? Just explain to us, like, what does it mean to have real freedom? To you at this point, like with the success you've had, what does that mean? Like, how do you feel? What's changed in your life?
Yeah. So real freedom to me is not having anyone telling me what I have to do,
Mm-hmm.
being able to work from wherever I want, and being able to
Mm-hmm.
dictate my own outcome. That's the big things, right? I
Mm-hmm.
know if I put in a certain amount of inputs, I'm going to achieve a certain amount of outputs, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm able to dictate how much work I put in, which in return I'll be compensated properly.
Mm-hmm.
In addition to that, I travel. I'm gone from my house at least 2 weeks a month. I get to meet new people. I'm in new cities. I'm not working my ass off in these cities. I'm of course I'm working because I really want to scale, but I'm not a slave to the job. No one is telling me exactly what I have to do when I have to do it,
Mm-hmm.
right? I get to determine when I get to put my inputs in order to achieve the outcome or the outputs. And then the other one is no one is breathing down my neck, right? No one is telling me what I
Mm-hmm.
have to do. I get to determine every single thing in my life, which again goes back to that extreme ownership thing. If you have extreme
Yeah.
ownership, you understand you have freedom, because if everything happens to you based on the actions you take, then you're the only person who's determining your fate.
Mm, wonderful. So if someone's watching and like they're like, oh, let's see if I dedicate myself 3 to 5 years, does my life, like, can my life realistically look like yours? Do you think?
I think you can do it much faster,
Mm,
realistically. I think that a
okay.
lot of people think that they want to make as much money as humanly possible. But in all honesty, most people don't want to make that much money. Most people don't want to be millionaires, honestly. Most people, their goal is to have freedom, right? Literally 1 to 3 hours a day of focused work can get you to $20,000 to $30,000 a month with no problem at all. If you have the right leads, you actually have genuine conversations, you care about people. Even if you get one lead a day and you close 1 in 15, you can do 2 deals a month. And for me, that would be $60,000. And if you get 1 to 2 leads a day, it's no more than an hour or 2 hours of work. Simple.
Hmm. Wow. Okay. Okay. Interesting. So you've mentioned a little bit about how your faith has changed also
Mhm.
in your mindset. So how has that evolved throughout your journey?
Yeah. So literally, I'm nothing without God. I truly believe that. Like, I had a come to Jesus moment last year, and this has really shaped who I am today.
Hmm.
Last year, right? I just hit my first $100,000 month. And again, 22-year-old kid, 100K a month, right? What are you going to tell him? You ain't going to tell him shit. I can tell you that. You know, I was
Mhm.
acting an ass. I'm talking like
Yeah.
going out, popping bottles, spending as much money as humanly possible. I was spending $2,000 to $5,000 a night on dinner. I was
Wow.
getting, I was, I was taking girls out to front row tickets at all these concerts. I was like bawling, bro. Like trying to just be, I was trying to be your classic Miami, you know, flexer, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and dude, one night, man, I just partied super hard, and I did some things I shouldn't have, like completely transparent. And I
Hmm.
woke up in the morning, and dude, I felt condemned. I felt condemned. I felt lost from God. Like I used to
Hmm.
pray every morning, like, God, please give me all of this stuff. Like, please allow me to achieve all these goals.
Yeah.
And he gave them to me. And instead of me being like, thank you, God, it was like, damn, I did this shit. It was all me, you know? It was like that mindset.
Mm.
So I woke up, I felt condemned, and I was like, wow, I have genuinely lost God, right? And I was sitting there
Mm.
really upset, right? But I didn't have remorse, okay?
Yeah.
I was upset, but I was not changing, right? Dude, I'm not kidding you. I was like stuck. I was like laughing about the shit I was doing. I was literally talking to my buddy that day. Dude, I get an alert on my phone. Negative 30 bands from my bank account. No joke. Yeah, and
What?
then literally I'm like, what the hell? So my business partner at the time, things did not go well. He got himself into a bad financial situation, needed $30,000 like this. Right? Not the I'm not gonna even get into that aspect of things, right? But that
Uh-huh.
happened. I was like, oh my gosh, $30,000 gone. And the fact that I'm spending so much money, I'm concerned. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
Um, and then, dude, it gets worse, bro. It gets worse. Then I have this deal closing, supposed to make 60K on it, right?
Yeah.
It was a flip. I bought it as a flip, right?
Uh-huh.
Turns out title fraud. I lose like 100,000 on this deal.
What?
Yeah. So
What?
title fraud. I lose like another 100 grand. This is the same freaking day, right? I'm thinking I'm about to make 60K tomorrow. Nope. Lose 100 grand instead. I'm still fighting it
Uh-huh.
in court to this day, right?
Uh-huh.
Title insurance company won't cover it because the title company told me it was fully insurable and marketable title, but that was not the case, right? They told me I have emails, I have screenshots, I sent it into the attorney, we're fighting it in court, but it was like, dude, within 24 hours, I lost $150,000, right? Dude, and I was sitting, bro. I remember this day like vividly, bro, because the night
Uh-huh.
before it was so fun, worldly, like it was the worldly
Uh-huh.
fun. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
dude, the night before I was just feeling like on cloud nine. I felt like I was unbreakable, right? The next day, dude, I'm in a penthouse. Dude, I go on the balcony and I'm just crying, bro. I'm just crying. And I'm
Oh my
like
God.
praying to God. I'm like, God, never let me lose you again. Never let me
Uh-huh.
lose you again. So I just like every morning I'm waking up,
Yeah.
I'm praying, I get back locked in with my faith. I'm trying to spread
Uh-huh.
the gospel. I'm trying to show what God has done for me. Cause I still had
Uh-huh.
money, but it wasn't
Yeah.
like my lifestyle drastically changed after that. Right.
Mm.
But I was trying to live for God. I was trying to like lead people closer to him. And man, a few months, I would say so it was like 3 months of like almost, it felt like hell, dude. Every single night, every single night I was laying in bed, staring at the ceiling, like, God, get me through this. Please get me through this. Please get me through this. And dude, I'm not even gonna cap. I would call my mom. I'm like, Mom, I gotta come sleep with you. I'm not even lying. Dude, I would just like go over to her like the house. I would just lay in bed and I'm like, Mom, I can't sleep. Like my mind was racing. I was stressed. I had other deals that weren't going through, right?
Uh-huh.
Dude, this is crazy, right? Because I literally just so that $60,000, since I was spending so much money, that $60,000 I was supposed to make was like all my marketing budget, all my marketing since for the next month, right?
Right.
So all that's gone. And then I'm like, I can't like I'm like trying to scale, but I don't have the liquid reserves because I was spending like a degenerate, because I was like
Uh-huh.
counting on the next deal to close every single time. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And so
Yeah.
it was a very bad experience. And then um what was crazy is I went from like the worst to the worst. I felt like I was like barely making it by. And then dude, like I remember the day it all changed for me. In July or in it was in the July or August. It was August. I made
Uh-huh.
$96,000 in one day, and I was like, ha, "Damn, God, you really have my back, bro. You have my back." So yeah,
Let's go. Okay, amazing. I love it. I love it. This is great. We've gotten a lot into your story now. Now let's dive into a little bit about wholesaling, the
yeah.
mechanics. So your deals, what lead source do you get them from?
Mostly PPL. So depending on the
Okay.
budget, especially for the students, we have them do different things. But for me specifically, we run inbound PPL only. So we use a company
Okay.
called Prexium. They are Facebook and Google PPC leads, all exclusive, and they don't resell them at all, and they send them straight to your CRM.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. How much are those leads costing you
Well,
on average?
I'm really good friends with the owner, so they're a little bit cheaper
Uh-huh.
for me. But I will
Uh-huh.
say that depending on how many you buy. So they range from $250 to $175. So $175 to $250, the more you buy, the cheaper they get. But I buy so many from him for not myself, but I also give bonuses to like students and stuff like that, or like people in the program. I do get them for cheaper. So I'm not going to say how much just so he doesn't get his company hurt, but yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. So you get him PPL. All right. And Corexium, that's cool. I never heard of him. All right. And what kind of sales process are you following?
Dude, I love this question because I'm so passionate about this, okay? What's crazy is when I first started wholesaling, brother, I didn't know what a sales process was. Okay. I literally just I was really good at building rapport with people. I was really good at talking. So it ended up getting me deals, but I didn't understand the system behind it. I was just doing it. Right. I went to an event. Do you know Eric Klein? You know, Eric Klein. Yeah. So I went to an event, bro. And he was talking, this is like 2 years ago. He was like, this is what a sales process is. And I'm like, bro, this is what I kind of do, but I just didn't know. Right. So I went home and I developed my sales process. It's called the closer sales process, right? It is completely dialed in. Dude, I'm telling you, I've implemented this sales process for companies around the country that you probably know. It takes people's close rates from 3 to 10x higher than what it was before. And I have those consistently across the country. Dead serious.
Okay.
But yes, my sales process is very dialed in. Briefly stated, it's introduction. So the introduction is to build minor rapport. We're setting the proper expectations for the call and getting them to agree to sign on the call. And we do that by flipping frame and saying the words. We'll send that agreement over at the end because we don't want to waste your time. I'm sure speed is important to you, right? And every single time I'm like, yeah, we want to go ahead and get started. Okay. And then in addition to that, we want to add scarcity here, right? We talk about, hey, we don't know if we can get you approved, but if we can, is this something you are really ready to move forward on? Yes. Okay. So we get confirmation at the front during the introduction. We build minor rapport. The next thing we get into is a part of the process called the reveal. So the reveal is where we make them identify their pain point, right? So a lot of people, they identify the pain point, but they don't amplify it. So our goal in the reveal is to build a big enough gap between where they are now and where they want to be. And then we offer our bridge as the solution later in the call. However, an analogy I give is like, what is a bridge? What does a bridge connect? It connects 2 pieces of land, right? A crack in the road, right? It might be this big, but it's still 2 pieces of land. If it's just a crack, the seller won't notice it. So you have to amplify the pain enough to get that crack to become a massive gap, right? So they might just say, oh, I want to get to a new house. That's the crack. There's no pain there. Why do you want to get into a new house? Well, my son and my daughter moved out, right? That's a little bit bigger. Why did they move out? Yeah. Well, me and my husband got divorced, right? You got divorced. Yeah, he was cheating on me, right? Cheating on you, just mirroring, labeling, right? Yeah, he was cheating on me with his coworker, right? He told me I wasn't enough. Pain, 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 pain. Now the gap is this big, right? I'm going to screw back. Now the gap is this big. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint a picture of where they could be, right? Oh, and what happens when you downsize? I'm not going to have to worry about the mortgage payment anymore because my husband, when he cheated on me, he told me he was paying the mortgage. This is a real story, by the way. He told me he was paying the mortgage, but he wasn't. Now, and the property's in my name. So now my credit score's cooked. Boom, right? Now I can't afford this because I was working one full-time job, but now I had to pay for my kids' private school, boom, boom, boom. And I'm not going to have to do all that. So now the gap is like, bam, right? Yeah. Now they need a bridge to be able to get to those 2 pieces of land. So our goal is to build the biggest gap within the reveal phase as possible. Next thing we do is we bring them out of pain just a little bit to get them distracted. And we do something called the assessment. This is where we do a thorough breakdown of the property, very detailed. And we ask very specific questions. And this entire portion of asking the assessment, during the assessment, is to avoid the objection, how can you buy my house over the phone, right? We are not leaving a single question unanswered, right? We are going to ask so many in-depth questions that they are going to confidently be able to say, these guys can buy my house. They know everything, right? Okay. Then we take them, we're coming out of pain a little bit, this much more. We're going into something called secure positioning. So our secure positioning is where we get them bought into the process and getting them bought into us. So what we do here is we pre-handle all objections. It is a very big sales strategy that not people understand. My company and my sales process does not get objections because we pre-handle all of the biggest ones. I have taken the transcripts from tens of thousands of calls, determined the biggest objections in each, and I crafted the secure positioning phase to handle every single objection, right? So we make sure that no one else needs to sign. We make sure that no one else would even be a tiny bit concerned they're selling. We make sure that the timeline is right before we even present the offer. We do a bunch of different stuff, right? We get them bought into moving forward with us. We get them bought into everything. Then we ask them the most important line, literally the most important line of the entire script is, Mr. Seller, let's say, we're able to get you, $30,000 in your pocket, like you said you needed, and help you get down to Florida with your family, and do that within the next 3 weeks, like you said, so you could see your granddaughter being born. Would you have any concerns at that point? And at that point, they usually have some concerns. So they'll say something along the lines of, like, I just need to make sure that you guys are going to actually close. So I'm going to deflect with a question. Well, what would give you confidence that we would actually close? And then they'll say, well, I would want earnest money. Okay, and how much earnest money would you want? Again, deflecting with a question. Oh, $2,500. No worries. I'll make sure the underwriting team knows to include $2,500 earnest money with your deposit, so you can feel confident that will actually close. So I'm going to repeat all of that one more time. I'm going to say, so as long as we get you close to $20,000 in your pocket, get you down to Florida within the next 3 weeks, so you can see your grandbaby being born, as well as make sure we get you $2,500 earnest money, so you can feel confident in us that we'll actually close. Would you have any concerns at that point? No, I won't have any concerns. Awesome. So, Julian, if we're able to do all of that, what do you want the next steps to be from here? I want the next steps to be to an offer. So we flipped frame to tell them to tell us they want us to move forward, right? Instead of us telling them we want them to move forward, because now they're thirsty and we're not. We go there. We go into the first hold where we run comps, come up with our offer price. Mm-hmm. Then we go into to build more suspense. We come back. We get them bought in on our process. We tell them about Novation. We tell them about listing the property on the market. We tell them about retail partners. We tell them about investor partners. And then we tell them about the access we need and everything. And we ask, that's our process. Do you have any concerns? Yes. Okay. I deflect with a question, right? If they say no concerns, I'll be like, perfect. I'm going to go see what we got you approved for. Go back to the underwriting team, come back with an offer, right? So that's the offer and close portion. At that end of that process, if they say the price is too low, I know we didn't build a big enough gap in the secure positioning phase, a big enough gap in the reveal phase to get them to actually see our bridge as the solution. We didn't build a big enough gap for them to have pain. Or if they tell us we need to think about it, that's because it's a trust or a smokescreen objection. So what we need to do there is we should have done a better job in the secure positioning phase. If it's neither of those, we have a super tight objection handling training that focuses on something called acknowledge, disarm, overcome, where we acknowledge their point, disarm them by making it seem like we're going to deflect it to a different date, and then we overcome the objection with a question.
Wow. Okay, great. Okay, wonderful. So Eric Klein taught you about the sales process, and then you created your own sales process. Is there any other training gurus that you've learned from that you're like, these are great people to learn from, that you have, picked together this thing from?
Yes. Jeremy Miner has a student called John Lalonde. He basically teaches wholesaling sales only. His name's John Lalonde. He's been an absolute blessing to my business as well.
Amazing. Okay. So definitely been a part of that. Now, that's wonderful. So basically, tell us a little bit about, we went down the sales process route, right? Mm-hmm. What markets are you operating in?
So we mostly do JV deals for the most part, right? So when we're helping people determine our markets, we ask them one of two questions, right? Would you rather get a deal done quicker and it might be a little bit of a less fee, or would you rather do, 1 to 2 deals a month and make a larger spread, right? So
Mm.
the lead to close ratio in Detroit is like super quick, and you can get deals assigned in like 2 weeks because that entire market is just investors. There's no home buyers there. It's all cash. It's like, it's moving super quick, right? Everybody's doing Burr strategy to Section 8.
Yeah.
So for those deals, we can rip like 10 to 15K fees all day long. We can probably do like 2 to 3 a week, right? For brand new people.
Mm.
That being said, I don't like deals like that, but I tell people they can do those deals because if they really want to get cash quickly, they can do it. It's a little more effort. It's more work. And I rather maximize my time to produce as much income as possible. So I like bigger deals. And I tend to pick markets like, that are seeing large amounts of growth, like Raleigh, North Carolina, Knoxville, Tennessee, like some specific areas in Florida, not all of them anymore because flood insurance is so high. A lot of people are moving out and the inventory's cooked. Some markets in some markets in Alabama, like Birmingham is growing rapidly right now. Their downtown is becoming extremely vibrant. And then if we want to go like really quick moving deals, we're thinking really investor heavy markets, like even Gary, Indiana, like Detroit, Michigan, like Memphis, Tennessee, like Macon, Georgia, like stuff where it's all cash buyers who are like moving super fast.
Yeah. Okay. So it depends on you. You get either people that want to do volume, more deals, or you get bigger spreads. Okay.
Correct.
Got it.
Yeah.
And then where are these biggest spreads usually coming from? Like what states or markets?
Biggest spreads, honestly, Knoxville, Tennessee which I live here. And I don't know if that's a thing, but Knoxville, Tennessee is the number one growing like housing market in the country right now. So I'm blessed to live here, right? But we also see pretty big deals in North Carolina too. And then Indiana, we've done like 40, 50K rips too.
Wow. Okay. Tennessee, Indiana, and
North Carolina.
Wow.
Yeah.
North Carolina. Okay, sweet. Okay, great. So let's talk a little bit about, so we talked about your sales process and marketing. Now let's talk about the operations side of things. How do you take care of your team? How do you build a team, the culture, all the good stuff, on that
right
front?
I struggled with this a lot at first, right?
Yeah.
Going from solopreneur to like building an actual company is very challenging for a lot of people, and including myself. What we had to really focus on is getting everyone aligned on the goals, right? You should not be settling for somebody just because you need someone to fill the position. I've made that mistake so many times, right? I need to hire somebody for this. First person that was good, I was hiring. Now, if you are not an A player, if you are not the best fit for this role, if you are not like an absolute rock star, it's a no from me. If you're not a hell yes, you're a complete hell no. Okay. In addition to that, making sure everybody knows what are the goals, what are our 10-year goals, what are our 5-year goals, what are our 1-year goals, and how do you play into that, right? What are our core values, right? Yeah. What is our vision? What is our mission? What are we really trying to do? What is your role in this company and how does it service us? Everyone needs to know why they're doing what they're doing, not just what they're doing. In addition to that, daily meetings, super important. I think that's really good for morale, getting to see everyone every day, motivation videos, making sure everyone's on the same page, and then also giving actionable steps. A lot of people say, hey, here's your job, go do it. Like, here's the overview of your job, go do it. But people see progress by getting small wins, right? So every single day we have a Google sheet. It says to do, in progress, doing. So you get to drag, like when you're working on a task, you drag it to in progress. When you complete it, you're working on to do, and then it like lights up green. It's like, or to done, and it lights up green. It's like complete, right? And it feels just like a little win, and that's reinforcing progress. Does that make sense? And reinforcing progress and just making the little wins, making sure we're getting one step closer to the goal every single day, right? That's what keeps people locked in and motivated to want to stay and work with you.
I love it. Okay, great. That's a lot to unpack there. All right. And then Yeah. What do you think? So you mentioned an A player. Like, what do you define an A player? Like, that's that's the biggest thing I think right there. The key.
I think I think Alex Hormozy really helped me define what an A player is. It's like, okay, a C player. Let's start there, right? A C player, you
Hmm.
give them a task and they do it, right?
Yeah.
Simple as that. A B player is you give them a task and they do it, and then they try to solve any other problems they might think will work at that time period. Okay.
Hmm.
Then the final one, an A player, you give him a task, he identifies all the other problems, and then he tells you what he wants to do in order to be able to fix everything else so that you can generate more revenue. Right. So
Mm.
an A player is a proactive, self governing person who wants to grow and sees your vision and aligns with that perfectly and has the skill set to be able to do so. Right.
Hmm.
A B player has the skill sets but is reactive, and a C player is reactive, and you probably you shouldn't even hire them. Like
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
that point, you're hiring them.
For sure. Okay. So talking about that self-governing person that can just execute plus find other better ways to do the thing,
Mhm.
the task at hand. What are some questions or what are some, tests or, things you do, to find out if that person is actually indeed that person that you're looking for?
Scenarios. That's really good. Um, I've noticed something in scenarios, like when we ask scenarios, the A players, like especially when we're hiring them, they
Hmm.
always clarify the goal first, right? So like if I'm like, hey, walk me through what would happen if we were $150,000 too high on a property, right? They're always like, okay, what's our goal here? Or they always clarify, right? You'll see like a B player, they'll be like, well, I would I would do, for example, we had this one person say like, well, first I would go back to the buyer and see how high we can get them up, right? Or, or I would go down to the seller and try and retrade them, right? Like it was so broad, they didn't have like the actionable steps, right? The A player like identified the goal, right? Have we already talked to the buyer and got them up maximum? Do we have a solid offer set in stone? Can I go back to the seller and retrade? It's all clarification and they understand what they're saying. They're not just word vomiting,
Hmm.
right? And then a C player is basically just making up some bullshit that they're trying to sound smart, you know? Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. All right, cool. So let's talk a little bit about profit
Mhm.
now. So how do you keep your profit? Like how do you expand profit? How do you keep as much of it and make as much of it as you can? What do you have in place? What are measures you have in place?
Great question. So remember how I told you I was making all this money and I was just spending like a degenerate?
Mm,
I did not, I didn't even track my P&Ls. I had no idea, right? So
yeah.
we implemented something called Profit First. It is a book where that
Hmm.
it talks about your like financial strategies, and it says like you need to learn to live poor before you actually end up poor, right?
Hmm.
So what we do specifically is I give myself 13% of whatever we make every month. 20% goes into like a tax savings account, whatever. 6% goes into like a don't touch it. It's just profit, pure profit. And then we have an OpEx account with our rainy day fund with all of our monthly overhead and all of that as well.
Okay,
Yeah.
amazing. So you read this book and this book tells you to divide your income into different buckets in
Yes,
different bank accounts.
correct. And that percentages is not standard for everything. It's not standard
Hmm.
for every business model. It's what worked best. What's working best for me right now in order for our current scaling, our scaling goals.
Okay, gotcha. All right. Wonderful. So can you explain those buckets again a little bit more? What
Yes.
are yeah.
So basically, the first bucket is the income bucket, right? So this bucket specifically is that bucket specifically is just where all your money goes into, right? So if you make $100,000, it all goes into income. As soon
Hmm.
as it hits that income bucket, you're going to put your first amount into operating expenses. This is your operating expenses and rainy day fund. Like this is where
Hmm.
all of your expenses come out of no matter what. This is the only bucket you're really going to touch. Okay.
Hmm.
The next one is called owner's pay, right? So you determine how much you're going to pay yourself.
Yeah.
That is your monthly spending budget. You don't want to go over that, right? Because if you go over it, you're cooked, right?
Mm.
And then you have to start taking out of the business. But if you give yourself a monthly spending budget, then you know that your business is going to be thriving, whether or not you have success or not, right? Or whether or not you're living the bougie life or not. Because at the end of the day, we have to prioritize the business. And then following that, there is a tax bucket. So I put 20% away for taxes, and I never pay 20% in taxes because I own assets. But let's say, for example, at the end of the year, I owe 20% in taxes. I have a complete tax account that has a large sum of money. So if I ever have to cut the check for taxes, I just pay it off right then and there. Okay. And then the last one is the profit account. This account is just like, do not touch this ever, right? This is like your cash in the bank. This is what you worked hard for. This is your profit, like your purebred profit to the business.
Gotcha. Okay, wonderful. That's great. Very interesting. All right. Now, okay, we have a few minutes. You know, what exactly do you think is one of the most important things for people to understand, to get into business? Like, we've talked about the sales process, we talked about wholesales. Can you maybe describe wholesales innovations, what the difference is, and how people can, get them instead of if you do other strategies like wholesales or,
Yeah.
flips, etc.
Great. So wholesale, quickest cash at the end of the day. One thing we try to do is with every offer, we try to make the same amount of money. So we frame offers differently to be able to make the same amount of income to the company. Okay. So first offer, wholesale offer, super quick close, but discounted enough that either A, if I really want to, I can use private money. I'll use one of my guys, and we'll just take down the deal ourselves. If not, completely fine. I'll dispo that deal at such a discounted price that it'll move within 7 days and I'll be able to make a 20K fee, right? Next offer, I need 30 days to close, but I know I can find a buyer who will pay at least 70% of ARV minus repairs, 20K fee, right? Next offer, family placement program, which is a complete novation where basically we are taking that property, we're listing it on the market for the seller, an as is condition, and we're going to pay the realtor fees for them. We're going to pay for the photography. We're going to pay for the marketing. We're going to make sure that the property gets listed in excellent condition, or at least in a perception of excellent condition. And we're going to list it on the market so that we're going to sell that deal to an end buyer or a family instead of a cash investor. Okay. And then following that, there is our equity protection program, which is our absolute highest program. We're basically giving them close to market value, like not close to market value, but it's our last Hail Mary to also perform a novation where we're going to list their property on the market, but there might be some repairs needed or anything done like that. We're actually going to need those repairs done to the property and everything, and we'll list it and then we'll take the profit in between the two. So we have like all these ranges of offers. I actually have like a negotiation training in depth on this, but the offers range from number one, super fast wholesale to a little bit slower wholesale to Novation 1 to Novation 2. If none of those work, we'll offer sub 2, but I don't really like sub 2 because the deal sizes are really usually small, which sub 2 is just basically like assuming the mortgage in a legal-ish way. And then if the deal is like really, really solid and it's like in really good condition, and I can just make like over $50,000 if I relist the property, I'll actually buy the property using private debt, clean it out, like have a professional cleaner go, and then I'll just sell it back on the market.
Okay, let's go. Wonderful. All right, so that's a breakdown of the different exit strategies. So you have 4 different strategies: fast wholesale, slow wholesale, novation, which you call your family placement program, and then your equity protection program, right?
Yes.
Interesting. And so tell me a little bit about that, because I mean, you said like you framed the different offers, in different ways to try to get the same, profit, how does that do for the seller? Like instead of you, coming in, higher, but still saying novation, without presenting a new kind of program, how does that do in the eyes of the seller? Like how's that frame, really,
Well, since we do secure positioning, we get them brought in, like in our sales process, we get them bought into anything we want. We handle all objections up front, right? So we sweeten the pot with like a super quick one, but then we just do something called give and take. If I give you more money, I need more time. Or if I give you more money here, I need less on the earnest money. Or if I give you more money, I need more access, right? So instead of just being like, hey, we'll give you more money, we'll give you more money, we'll give you more money, we do a negotiation strategy called give and take because people always want what's fair, right? And so they'll feel like they're getting scammed if you're just increasing price without increasing terms, right? So we have to like say, if we do this, we do this, right? It's always a give and take. So we don't really have an issue with
Mm.
that. Most people are completely fine with it because they understand, like, hey, if we're going to get more money, there has to be a caveat to it.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, great. So JT, tell us a little bit about your social media presence. What are you doing out there? What can people see?
So my goal on social media is to do a couple things. One, I believe that freedom is the ultimate goal in life. And most people live their day to day miserable at a job they don't even enjoy going to. They don't
Mhm.
enjoy it at all, And I want to free people from that. And I want to show them you're already working hard, guys. You guys are staying at this place because you think it's stable, but you can get
Mhm.
fired any day. Like, I hate to say it, I fired a ton of people from my company. There's no stability there. The true stability is you dictating your own outcome. And so my
Mhm.
goal is to motivate people and to show them the 1 to 3 hour a day time frame that they need to commit to this while they're still working their full-time job so they can utilize their full-time job as an asset to fund their real estate business so that within the next 90 days they can alleviate their duties at their current job or current full-time position and be in real estate full-time, work 1 to 3 hours a day and close consistent 20 to 30K months. And it is that simple.
Amazing. All right. So if they only want to change one thing in the next 24 hours, what should it be?
Sales. Honestly, I'm so passionate about this, bro. Most people have the frame of, I'm going to give you a cash offer on your property. You need to stop thinking your value comes from cash. If your value came from cash, you would be paying above market price and you would be giving them cold hard money in the bank.
Mhm.
You are not being compensated for giving them a super high offer. You are being compensated because you're offering a solution that they need in order to be able to achieve dream outcome. So, people, your actionable steps for today is to flip your frame of thinking, I'm lowballing these people to, hey, these people need my help and I'm going to do whatever it takes to figure out a solution to help. And if I help someone out of a bad problem, I should be compensated properly.
Okay, okay, amazing. That's wonderful. Mindset. Let's go. So where can people uh go deeper with you for free?
Dude, free stuff. For one, we're about to start launching live trainings once a week, which is going to be really cool. And it's on my Instagram, JT Sudderth, JTSUDDERTH. And then in addition to that as well, we have a free school community. So we have a full 5.5 hour long breakdown. I made this whole entire course for free, how we market, how we sell. I have live calls with sellers that you're able to hear. I show you how I dispo, how I find my cash buyers. I show you my entire business model for completely free. I don't ask for anything, and it's in a school community. It's like no credit card information, no nothing required at all. It's completely free.
Amazing, amazing. Well, we're definitely gonna link it down below, and we're gonna link your YouTube channel, your Instagram. But anyways, guys, you've seen the proof here. You've heard the plan. So if you're still in the same place 12 months from now, it's really on you, not JT. So if you want to go ahead and do anything with JT, check him out. And we appreciate you, JT, for coming on, and I hope you have you in the future.
Of course, dude, I had a blast.
All right, thanks, man.